Hey, what's good, fam? Hope you all doing good. And if you're not, well, what what can we do? Well, our work here is to motivate you guys, and if you're not motivated, well, what am I gonna do? Hmm? What is it now my issue? Is it now my problem? Imagine, just imagine, you connect with the YPG fam. You connect with us here on Something Extra, and that's exactly how we receive you. Imagine that cold weather, that cold reception from the YPG fam. You can bet that's not the YPG fam and that's not PJ. I hope you guys are doing great. The smile is genuine, although I am laughing. It was difficult to keep up the act. But that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The weather change. The weather change in people's moods. The weather change in people whom you don't know how to approach them, because at one given moment, they're all good. At one given moment, the weather is sunny. It's sunny sky. They're smiling at you. They're greeting. They're telling you how amazing you are. And all of a sudden, they're looking at you like this and telling you off and simply making you feel so uncomfortable. Today, we're going to be talking about mood swings. And I hope what we're going to be sharing today in the Something Extra episode will be able to help you not just overcome or deal, rather, let me start, not just deal with people who might be struggling because they have mood swings or are struggling with their mood changes, but also if that is your issue, if you realize that you might be a very moody person, you might be the kind of person whom people don't feel very happy being around. People don't find it very pleasant being around because, yeah, your mood, the weather changes. In the morning it might be, sunshine, and then in the afternoon it starts, getting partly cloudy. Before the end of the day, there's a thunderstorm and people don't know what to do, how to deal with it, what to do, how to talk to you. And perhaps it is at work, perhaps it is at school, perhaps it's even at home. And there are several different impacts, negative, of course, with mood swings. And I'm not here to say, let's get this one out the way. Let's address the elephant in the room. I'm not here to say that people don't get angry. I'm not here to say that every single moment of my life I'm here smiling. Hey guys, not necessarily. That's not the case. We all have our days where we're a little less zhuzhy, a little less vibrant, a little less on, the sunny side of things, and a little bit more on the partly cloudy, thunderstorms, thunder shower kind of, mood, weather. We're a little bit snowy and very cold. We do have our days. But I would like to address the fact that you cannot allow your moods to overlap and to hurt others. You cannot allow your mood to become the reason why people's moods and people's days change. Don't be like the weather. Because if it's sunny, everyone in the same area, in the same region I am in, they will also experience that sunny weather. If it's cold, they will also experience that cold weather. It's been especially Monday. Monday was really, really cold, and we were up very early for the 3 a.m. vigil, and it was cold. It was cold. I remember we were laughing that we got back, and the car, usually when you put your hand on the bonnet of the car after using it, it's warm or hot, and it was still cold on Monday. It was a cold weather, so everybody has to deal with that. Unless if you're gonna move away. And maybe you have become that kind of person whom people will have to move away from you simply because of your moods. Or maybe you might not be the kind of person with the moods. You might not be, the person bringing about that negative weather, that negative impact into people's lives, but you might be someone having to deal with that. And you say, PJ, I have no clue. I have no cooking idea how I'm going to deal with this. And sometimes it's someone who maybe you need to deal with that person. You need to work with that person. Maybe that person's even your boss. How to deal with a boss who has mood swings. We're not only going to talk about those who have mood swings, but also on how to deal with it. And just to spice it up, just to zhuzh it up, we're going to start with how to deal with people who have mood swings, how to deal with people who are very moody, how to deal with people who sometimes we have to breathe and count from 1 to 10, and maybe 1 to 100, or maybe 1 to 1,000, and just keep counting and wondering, how am I going to approach this person? Maybe it's a family member, it's someone whom you even love, someone who's even dear to you, but it has become very difficult in dealing with that person. So what to do? How to deal? How do you manage with someone who is moody? I'm going to share with you guys a step-by-step guide on that. And I hope that what we're going to share will be useful. Disclaimer, we're not responsible for the outcome of whatever may happen when dealing with these moody people. I'm just messing with you. But we do want to be able to be helpful and supportive, both for you and for the person who is moody, because that person is moody because that person is going through something. That person is moody because that person needs help with something. And maybe you could be that bridge to help that person have a better day, have even a better life. So step number 1 when dealing with moody people: do not let the weather or their mood to change you. In spite of it being unpleasant, never permit the bad mood of others to affect you, and worse, make you also become moody and unpleasant to be around. Remember, if it's raining, you're going to grab an umbrella and walk in the rain with that umbrella, or you're going to grab your raincoat. You're going to find means, you're going to find shelter, you're going to find means to keep yourself from getting that much wet. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but we will seek to avoid it as much as possible. Sometimes what we do is allow the bad mood of others to change us, to turn us into what they are. I usually say, when one is broken, one would like to break others. Those who have breakages, those who have leakages in their lives, they also want others to leak. They also want others to break. So I want you to stop permitting the moodiness of others to turn you into someone moody, and to turn you consequently into someone unpleasant. So don't let that get to you. And that will make you to have peace with yourself. And I'm not giving you suggestions or tips which are easy. I think none of the 4 tips I'm going to give you on dealing with people who are moody will be easy. But start with that. Don't allow that to get to you. Don't allow that to change you. You will change how you will approach depending on the weather. You'll check the weather app. The other day, Dali and I were preparing to go out, and usually, ironically, Sunday mornings when we go to church, she'll oftentimes say, please check the weather report. What's the weather like? And the other day was, I think it was last week Sunday, if not mistaken. She was like, how's the weather? And I checked it. And I'm like, it's 4 degrees until this time. And she's like, what? I'm going to go get a jacket. So instead of her changing, her mood, or changing, oh no, I don't believe the weather. How can the weather be like this? All she did was prepare herself for the weather. That's what we do. So prepare yourself. You're going to have to deal with that person, especially as we mentioned earlier. Maybe that person's your boss. Maybe that person's your parents. Maybe that person is someone whom you can't really confront, of which, by the way, confrontation is never a solution in dealing with someone who's moody. But still, with that being said, that doesn't mean that you should allow that person's bad mood or moodiness to change you. You don't have to allow the weather to change what's going on inside of you. Got me? So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, do not take it personal. Just because someone is going through what they're going through does not mean you are necessarily their problem. Separate the person from their behavior. recognize that the person's moodiness is just one aspect of who they are. Oftentimes, a person will think that they are the cause of other people's mood and retaliate, or even start looking at that person like they are the reason for that specific, issue, for that specific bad mood. Don't ever take it personal. Even if you might have made it worse at that situation, don't take it personal. Don't put the blame on yourself because of what people are going through. Don't put the blame on yourself, because then, like the first step, you will end up changing, and that will change you. You might end up becoming just like that person because you feel like you are to blame. However, you might be thinking, what can I do to assist this person? What can I do to help this person? How can I actually help this person? And that's where the third and the fourth step will assist you. Step number 3 is avoid triggers and retaliation. If you know certain topics or situations trigger their moodiness, try to avoid or minimize these when possible. Avoid the kind of things which make things worse, because sometimes when a person is moody, people want to be spiteful and they want to create things and see to it that things get worse for them. Although that person might be bringing a very unpleasant environment, that doesn't mean that you must also now retaliate. That doesn't mean that now you need to treat that person like that. Although they're bringing the bad weather, remember, don't allow that bad weather from that person to change you. You can change their weather with maybe being positive, being nice, being, which we're going to talk about in the fourth step. But most importantly, avoid the triggers. You know that if I do this, it's going to trigger my mom. You know that, hey, if I do that, it's going to trigger my boss. It's going to trigger this person. So why are you doing it? Why do we have to retaliate? Avoid that, even if that person has been mean to you. And remember, we spoke about this last week when we spoke about the lemons to lemonade. Even though sometimes people may be mistreating and ill-treating us, remember that vibe, that zhuzh in the work of the YPG about how we treat others? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just because that person might be moody or treating you in a particular way that might not be very friendly, might not be very welcoming, that doesn't mean that you need to treat that person the same way. So avoid what triggers them. Avoid what, that ticks them off and that really pushes that person to the edge. You never know what that person is going through. And that's where we go to step number 4 on dealing with people who are moody. Stay connected because you might need this. Number 4, empathy and compassion. Show empathy and compassion. Recognize that the person may not have full control over their emotions and they are likely struggling. One of the really, really, really bad things which we do in this world is, so if you don't treat me well, I'm not going to treat you well. But what if we do things differently? And that's exactly the part which excites me. We left number 4. Number 4 is actually number 1, but I left the best for last. What if we treat people with empathy? What if we seek to understand, even if we don't ask that person what's going on? Oh, but PJ, this person's unapproachable. Even if I ask, he or she will never tell me what's going on. You don't have to know what's going on. You just need to treat that person well. That person doesn't even look at you properly, but you greet them with a smile. You bring positivity into the room. You change the situation. You change the mood of that environment. You change the weather for others. And who knows, you might be also changing the mood to that person, for that person. So show empathy, show compassion. I repeat, I'm not saying now you should allow people to abuse you and ill-treat you and just, you'll be okay with it. Of course not. They may say things or treat us in hurtful ways, but that does not mean we should retaliate. That does not mean that we should not have compassion and wish them well. And also, how about you pray for that person? How about you wish them well, even if they're not wishing you very well? How about you wish that all the bad things they have or might be wishing you, the opposite happens to them, because the double of the good things you're wishing them and praying for them may return to you. So let's have compassion. Let's have empathy. And if, hey, you find the gap to help this person, go for it. What are you waiting for? Go and help. The days that that person might be, don't go there accusing them. Hey, you did this, pointing your finger at that person and saying, you did that, I didn't like it. But go to that person like, look, if you ever need something, I'm here. I noticed the other day you didn't seem like you were in the best state. I just want to let you know that you're the best. You're amazing. You're awesome. You know what? You can make it. Who knows? You might just be bringing a permanent breeze of hope to that person's life. So let's change that. Let's be the kind of people who bring empathy and compassion in the world that's so cold, so cold. I'm not talking about the literal cold, but the coldness of the ill treatment people share with others or pass on to others. All right? So just recapping in case any of y'all caught up late. Do not let the weather or their mood to change you. Do not take it personal. Avoid triggers and retaliation. Avoid the things which you know will make or increase the situation, the moodiness, and the bad environment. And last but not least, be the kind of person who brings empathy and compassion. That person might be going through a lot, and you might be the kind of person who can help them. Now, I want to address those of you who might be struggling with a bad mood. You might be the kind of person who says, PJ, I am that person who's actually very moody, and I want to work on that. I want to talk to you, and I have 4 steps for you in dealing with that. The first thing you need to realize is the negative impact, the mood swings, because you might be presenting or bringing about that bad weather. It feels good for you at that moment, but you might not be noticing the long-term negative effects your bad weather, in other words, your bad mood, may be bringing to people's lives. And the first impact I want to speak about is your own personal well-being. Frequent mood swings can lead to feelings of instability and distress, impacting one's overall mental health. You really want to present to yourself a negative impact in your mental health. You really want to destroy yourself inside out because you allow your mood to change the weather, to change firstly your own weather and then the weather of others. I'm going to talk to you about this. I'm going to guide you on how you need to get rid of that. But understand, everybody's going through a lot. Everyone's facing something in their lives. No matter how amazing someone's life is, everyone has a lot on their plate. So you're first destroying yourself. And secondly, you are destroying others. And that's what leads us to number 2, the second impact of being a moody person or a weather changer, if I could say that, are the relationships. Mood swings can strain relationships with family, friends, and colleagues, as others may find it difficult to understand or keep up with sudden emotional changes. You might be making it very difficult for people to approach you and not understanding that there are people who want to help you, but maybe because of your mood swings, they don't know what to do. That's why we're orientating, firstly, those who are dealing with people who are struggling with their mood swings, and secondly, those who have become the kind of people tarnishing their relationships with others. A person who's moody makes it very difficult to work. A person who's moody makes it very difficult to live with. A person who's moody is the kind of person who is pretty much unpleasant to live with. Very, very unpleasant. People, they put up with them if they have to, and if they don't, they just walk away. Maybe that's why you're alone. Maybe that's why people, they never consider you. Friends go out on a social, outing, they go to a restaurant, they go out for takeaway, and they never consider involving you, not because they dislike you, but perhaps your mood swings have been making it very uncomfortable, very unpleasant, and very difficult. Understand, you're not always right. We are not always right. and that we should also consider what we spoke in how to deal with those who have mood swings: empathy and compassion. Have that empathy and compassion for yourself. Remember your personal well-being, and have that empathy and compassion for others. And now it leads us to point number 3, the third impact of moodiness in people's lives. It's productivity. Fluctuating moods can make it challenging to focus on tasks, leading to decreased productivity and effectiveness in work or school. Think about it. You know that you're not even close to your potential. You know that you are not even close to where you should be in your life. Why? Because you've been allowing your mood, your frustration to be thrown and poured on people, and it's just leading you and it's just killing you inside out. Besides the relationship with others, you're destroying the relationship even with yourself. So you're trying to get things right, you're trying to get things going, but you're stuck, you're stagnant. Reason being, your productivity is on a decline because you're allowing that mood, your emotions, to have the best of you, to get the best of you. You're allowing that situation that's on the outside to destroy you on the inside. Remember the weather. It might be your moody, your moody behavior, your moodiness might be a result of the weather too. And now you're changing others, including your own weather, because of what you're feeling. But the change should be something that happens inside out and not from the outside inwards. Your productivity, look at what you're doing to yourself. At work, at school, you know that you're not producing. People don't want to be around you. You don't even want to be around you, perhaps. That's because you have allowed your mood swings to destroy you. And that also leads us to the last and fourth impact, which is physical health. Chronic mood swings can sometimes lead to physical health problems such as headaches, fatigue, or changes in appetite. So you see, these are a few, and I'm sure that there are many more other impacts of mood swings in one's life. Now, the big question is, how do I deal with it? The first step is understanding you need help. Accepting the help. This is where the YPG fam comes in. And if you notice, our help is more internally than externally. Yes, we have the external help. For example, physical sports are very good. Our Champions League, the YPG Champions League, is going to resume this weekend and so forth. That's awesome. That's cool. But, if nothing changes on the inside, you'll be maybe in a better mood the moment you're enjoying yourself. But if the problem does not get fixed internally, you're not fixing the root of the problem. Start dealing with your issues internally. Admit you need help. Admit it and seek for that help. I remind you once again, no one is to blame for your issues. Although there might be a person who triggered that, there might be a person who began that, and this is just a vicious cycle because that person is a victim of something else. Oh, but PJ, you don't know what I'm going through, but that person did this, that person's just evil. Yes, that person may even be what you're saying they are. But why are you allowing what she went through, or rather that person allowed what she went through to turn into a mood, to bring about a bad weather to people, and now it's become a part of you? Why are you allowing it to enter you too? Why are you tarnishing your relationships, your productivity, your personal well-being, and even physical well-being because of a mood swing? Change that. You're allowing your emotions to have the best of you, to get the best of you. It's time for that to change. It's time for you to become a pleasant person. There is nothing better than that. But that will require humbleness. That will require you saying, I want that change. I don't want to be the same. I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to be unpleasant. I don't want to be the kind of person who, where I arrive, there is peace, but when I arrive, peace leaves. And when I exit, peace returns right into that spot. Don't be that kind of person. be pleasant. And this is exactly what the work of the YPG focuses on, helping you, helping all of us to overcome that. And if you have that issue, before this day ends, get in touch with your coordinator, get in touch with your mentor, or you can DM us. Our deets are at the bottom of your screen as you see it. Get in touch with us, chat to us, look for help, but don't allow you to be the kind of person who changes a good weather into a bad weather. I think I've spoken enough, but before we sign out, the YPG Champions League will resume, as today we wrap up the fast of Daniel, the 21 days, which, by the way, was and is the perfect opportunity for those of you who have allowed your mood to have the best of you. Those of you who have permitted that bad mood to shape whom you have become. The fast is ending, but that doesn't mean that the change you need to do for your life, you need to make in your life, needs to end. So be part of this amazing work of the YPG. Stay tuned, stay connected with us. And as I said, look for help. Speak to your coordinator, speak to your mentor, speak to whomever you need to speak to. DM us. We're here for you guys. And whatever you vent is confidential. If you're a result of a bad weather, or if you're just the kind of person who brings bad weather to others, I want to say to you that we as the YPG fam, we want to help you change your weather and to be the kind of person who changes people's weather. Got it? So come and join us, be part of this amazing fam. And next week, we're going to be back with more here in the Something Extra. Those of you who are connected in your respective branches, I'd like you to talk about this. Talk about situations or people whom you've been having to deal with in mood swings. Please don't badmouth people, but, talk about the scenario, the situations, and talk about the changes you are willing. It's a discussion. The changes you're willing to make in order to assist that person, or the changes you might be making to assist yourself in overcoming that mood swing. All right. Y'all know that the YPG fam brings the good weather. That's what's up. I'm going to be signing out, but as you know, what time is it? Of course, it's that time. It's time to take off. And it's time for us to bring the good weather to everybody. Take care of yourself. Make sure you take this link. Make sure you take this message, share it and spread it with someone who might be needing this help. We out of here.